Starting at number 10 is the Tennessee Titans. The Titans had the first overall pick where they tried to find their franchise QB in Cam Ward, who has been playing a little better recently, even though overall he hasn't been great. But he also doesn't have much help in Tennessee. They had three picks in the fourth round where they took three offensive weapons, who have all seen significant playing time due to the Titans having no receivers. Chamari DK leads the NFL in all-purpose yards, being one of the best returners in the league, and has 400 yards and four touchdowns this year. Gunnar Helm has 357 yards and two touchdowns, and will most likely take over as tight end one next year. Alec Eomanor has the most yards among Titans wide receivers with 465 yards and four touchdowns. Third and sixth round picks Kevin Winston and Marcus Harris have been solid in the secondary, and second round pick Olawafemi Oladeje has been injured most of the year but should be a solid rotational piece off the edge. At number 9 is the Carolina Panthers. They took Tedero McMillan with pick 8, and he leads rookies in yards and might reach 1,000 yards on the season, along with having 7 touchdowns. Second round pick Nick Gordon has been good, having 4.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 7 tackles for loss. And fourth round pick Lathan Ransom has been solid and has the least missed tackles among safeties. At 8 is the Seattle Seahawks. They took guard Gray Zabel in the middle of the first round, who has been okay. The pass blocking has been solid, giving up 2 sacks, 4 QB hits, and 4 penalties, and 24 pressures allowed. But his run blocking hasn't been great, but I think he can be pretty good going forward. At the start of the second round, they drafted Nick Emanwari, who is first in sacks, pass breakups, and pressures among safeties, even though he needs to improve in coverage. Torrey Horton was playing well until an injury with 5 touchdowns through 8 games, and will be a solid wide receiver 2 or 3 going forward for Seattle. First round pick Walter Nolan has only played in 6 games but looked great in the limited time he played. Second and fifth round corners Will Johnson and Denzel Burke have both played well. Johnson would have been a first rounder if it wasn't for injury concerns, but it looks like the risk paid off. And Denzel Burke is one of the lowest passer ratings against in coverage, and his draft stock plummeted after having a bad 2024 with Ohio State, but looks like the Cardinals got a steal. And then fourth round linebacker Cody Simon has been sold too. At 6 is the Patriots. The Patriots' fourth overall pick Will Campbell has shown potential and been solid overall, excelling in pass blocking so far. Halfway through the season, Vrabel finally started giving Travion Henderson double-digit carries, and he's made the most of it, running for 858 yards and 7 touchdowns. Third-round pick Kyle Williams only has 10 catches on the year, but 209 yards and 3 touchdowns on those 10 catches. Fourth-round pick Craig Woodson has been a solid contributor for the defense. In third-round and fourth-round picks, Jared Wilson and Josh Farmer has seen a decent amount of playing time despite not being great. And Andres Borregales in the 6th round has been pretty good at kicker. The Saints took tackle Kevin Banks with the 9th pick, and I think he can be the franchise tackle moving forward. He's been a good run blocker, but has to improve his pass blocking with those stats not looking great, but he's still graded as an average pass blocker. Second round pick Tyler Shuck has quietly been playing really well at QB for the Saints, and he's probably been the best rookie QB this year, even though many people, including myself, considered this selection a huge reach. Third and fourth round secondary picks Quincy Riley and Jonas Sanker have been solid additions. And then fourth and sixth round picks Danny Stutzman and Devin Neal have seen the field a decent amount too. The Giants' third overall pick, Abdul Carter, started to get on the stat sheet more the past few weeks with 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 6 tackles for loss in the past 3 weeks, and is 12th in pressures and hurries and 5th in QB hits overall. They traded up for Jackson Dart, which looks like a good decision now, and they might have found their franchise QB, even though I'm not sold on him yet. He has a little over 2,000 passing yards and 22 total touchdowns through 13 games. Third round defensive lineman Darius Alexander has gotten playing time and has 3.5 sacks and 4 tackles for loss. In the fourth round, they took a shot on one of the most intriguing prospects, running back Cam Scadaboo, and it looks like a complete steal. He did suffer a season-ending injury, but looked great before the injury. In the fifth round, they picked Marcus Mabu, who has seen some playing time on the O-line and has been good as a run blocker. The Falcons look to have nailed their first three picks, taking two edge rushers, Jalen Walker and James Pierce, who have combined for 17 sacks and three forced fumbles, and have helped the Falcons go from second to last in sacks last year to second in the league in sacks this year. They also grabbed safety Xavier Watts in the third round, who has been a good upgrade to the secondary and is tied for second in interceptions in the league. And Billy Bowman also played before suffering an injury. At 2 is the Chicago Bears. The Bears took Colston Loveland with their first pick, who has started to come alive the second half of the season. He only has 48 catches but for 622 yards and 5 touchdowns, and is fourth per yards reception and third in average depth per target again among tight ends, and is one of the better tight ends in the league. Second round pick Luther Burden is coming off his best game of his rookie year with 8 catches for 138 yards and a touchdown, and the Odunze Burden duo looks like it could be pretty dangerous in the future. And then their next second round pick, they took tackle Ozzie Trapilo, who has played well and only allowed 15 pressures and 2 sacks and taken 2 penalties through 491 snaps. Their next 4 picks have barely played, but they got an absolute steal in 7th round in Kyle Monangai, who has formed one of the best running back duos in football with DeAndre Swift, averaging 4.7 yards per carry with 769 yards and 5 touchdowns. The Browns organization doesn't do much right, but they nailed this draft class. I don't think I've heard a word about Mason Graham this year, but he's been good and really flown under the radar this year, despite being the 5th overall pick. They aced their 2 second-round picks with Carson Schlesinger being the heavy favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year and one of the best linebackers in the game already. And their other second-round pick, Quinshon Judkins, looks solid in his rookie year, running for 827 yards and 7 touchdowns through 14 games. In the third round, the Browns got one of the biggest steals in the entire draft, taking Harold Fannin, who was the 6th tight end taking and is putting up top 10 tight end production with 72 catches for 731 yards and 6 touchdowns, which are all top 10 among tight ends. And he's the Browns' best weapon by far. And then the only miss was Dylan Gabriel, which the pick didn't really make sense at the time, and he's probably the third or string or practice squad QB going forward. In the 5th round, they added to the running back room, taking Dylan Sampson, who's only averaging 2.6 yards per carry, but has 259 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. And then in the 5th round, they took Shadur Sanders, who should have been starting from the beginning of the season. He hasn't looked great, but has showed some potential and needs to develop more and pretty much has no help out there.